Okay, we're recording. Go ahead and tell everybody basically what state you're in and what happened.
Hello, how you doing? Hey, yeah, I'm here in the great state of New York, and what happened last year, September, I got a ticket for talking on the phone. I had the phone without a hands-free device. I was talking to a client on the phone, and the Colony Police Department here in upstate New York had a roadblock. So I got pulled over, and you know how you get when you get pulled over. You're nervous, your heart's beating. Whether you did anything wrong, you didn't do anything wrong, but my heart's beating all crazy. Anyhow, make a long story a little bit longer here. I got the ticket. I decided that I wasn't going to just pay the fine anymore, because that's all I've been doing my whole life, is paying fines and, losing my money to these folks. So I decided I was going to fight the ticket. I started to do a little research, and I ran into my buddy here on YouTube, Tactical Guy, and I love what he had to say about different things. It just made a lot of sense to me. Now, I myself have been kind of studying a little bit about some people know it as the straw man, which is your name in all capital letters, being a corporation of the government. That they actually own that corporation from when your parents sign a birth certificate at birth. They create a fictitious name, evident in all capital letters, and along with your social security number, that birth certificate and all that stuff is a bond of some sort.
Right. And let me interject real quick, just so everybody knows. I personally don't agree with that, only because nobody has shown me the proof. But we all have our beliefs, and so I respect what you're saying, but just to let people know that that's not one of my beliefs. But go ahead.
No, I understand. And everybody should do their own research, obviously. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, I decided to go to court. I went to court, and I decided I wasn't going to plead guilty or not guilty. I wasn't going to give them jurisdiction, and I wasn't going to contract with them. So I went in. I said, the judge asked me, what do I want to do here? I said, well, I don't know. What do you guys want to do here? Pretty much what it comes down to. This is your place. And he said, well, you can either plead guilty or not guilty. And I said I wasn't prepared to plead guilty or not. I wasn't going to plead either one. And what I understand, I don't have to plead either one. I don't have to take a side of any type. He goes, well, you only have a choice here, either guilty or not guilty. I said, well, I'm not going to plead either one. This is a packed courtroom now. And everybody's like, whoa, what's going on? So the DA jumps out from behind behind his little stand and comes and says, Your Honor, I think what the accused is saying here is that you don't have jurisdiction over him, and because I spoke about that capital letter name and me being an authorized representative. So he said to me that I don't have jurisdiction over the person, and so he says, well, let's issue a bench warrant for the real Mr. here, and when he gets pulled over, that real man will show up in court.
So in other words, you were saying, hey, look, that's not me. I'm the authorized representative. And he said, well, then let's issue a bench warrant for the defendant since he failed to appear.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
For the real me, because my argument in that case that it was a fictitious. It's a corporation. It's fictitious.
But I told one other person this is exactly what they would say if they say that that's not them. And sure enough, this is the second time I hear this. And this is like I think it's just their new tactic, anyways. But that's why that's my opinion about that.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying in regards to that. But I am under the impression that is a bond. As a matter of fact, I've seen where all these bonds and all with the CUSIP number and all that stuff is kept down at the DTC. People can look it up. Their birth certificate and stuff, even though you don't really believe it, and that's cool. But that's just moving right along. The judge decided he was going to issue a plea of not guilty on my behalf. So obviously, I was kind of, listen, I am not going to take a plea of guilty or not guilty. If you do that, you're doing that on your own. I didn't give you permission to do it. He still did it anyway. I left the court, and of course, a couple of weeks later, I got the thing in the mail saying, this court accepts your plea of not guilty on such and such charge. And then that's when I started to get with you, go over what it was that they were doing and or trying to do, and we decided to, I decided to take it to trial, and you helped me file, prepare some stuff, motions, and different arguments that we could bring up in this situation. So I did that, we got that, I went to court, and I filed those motions. But before I filed them, they wanted to make a deal with me to drop the thing from a cell phone to a parking on the pavement with a $50 fine, no surcharge, and so on. And I had explained to the town attorney that wasn't a part of the deal. I am basically tired of you guys taking my money. So I'm not here to make a deal. If you want to make a deal, you dismiss the case, and that's it. He goes, well, I can't do that. I said, well, let's take it to trial. We're ready to go. And so they wanted to, he started to say that, well, it's not his case. It's the other town attorney. They're short-handed. And all types of stuff
was this after you filed the motions?
That's when I brought the motions into him to file it in the court.
Yeah.
And he started to read them over. He goes, wow, good job. And I was like, well, thank you very much. So I went up to talk, me and him went up to talk to the judge together. The judge says, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I'm filing these motions here. And he looked at me, got really squirmy. I'm sure, the guy's a nice guy. He probably doesn't even realize what he's doing there, too,
Yeah, most attorneys don't.
Yeah, sometimes I don't believe these DAs and attorneys realize that they're actually a part of perpetrating this fraud on the people.
Yeah.
Because it's just how they've been trained. So you got to forgive them because they know now what they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, we set a trial date. I come in there, which was yesterday, trial date. I was ready to go. I was going to cross-examine the officer and all of these things that we prepared. And all of a sudden, before we even did that, I went to talk to the district attorney again, or the town attorney. And I said, what are you going to want to do? You got 100 people before we get to me, and I don't have all day to be here. He goes, well, that's just the policy that, we call all these cases before we go to do the trials. And I should have said, you know what? Let me see that policy. Is that in writing? But I left them alone. Because I wanted to go into the courtroom and listen to, what they're doing and watch them take everybody's money and folks not knowing that's what's going on and that they could actually fight these things. So finally, we're scheduled for 10 a.m. I got called up at 11. And the judge says to the district attorney or town attorney, counsel, we have a trial on for 10 a.m. It's now 11 a.m. Are you ready to move forward? And the town attorney answered in a real, nervous voice, crackly voice. Well, yes, Your Honor. I guess so, Your Honor. And like he was nervous, So, like I said before, I didn't know if it was me because I was standing pretty close to him, and 300-pound, big black dude. You know what I mean? So a lot of times around here, there's not too many brothers up this way. You never know if that played a part in making him nervous. But I don't think that was the case.
No.
I just thought it was kind of funny. Anyway, judge asked him again, is the officer here to, be cross-examined? He said, yes, the officer is here. But Your Honor, the officer that wrote the ticket is not here. And
what a coincidence, huh?
Come in today because they were in a roadblock. And the one guy was a spotter that handed me the ticket, but the guy that was writing tickets was sitting in the car. So the judge said, well, that would be all hearsay, and so on and so on, and then I would have to make a decision. It's almost like all of a sudden he jumped from being that on their side to being on my side, and it was just kind of weird. But he says, well, it looks to me, counsel, that the town is not, or the state or the people are not ready to move forward. over at me and he goes, Mr. Roden, what do you propose here? I said, motion to dismiss. And he goes, motion granted.
There you go.
And I stood there for a minute because I still didn't believe it. I guess I was just so worked up, ready to go to cross-examine.
That would have been better.
Because I wanted the entertainment of it. Because obviously, you know, even if they found me guilty, at the end of the day, it would have been probably an $80 fine or something like that. But you know, I was prepared to take it to a higher court if necessary. And I think that most people need to, you know, stand up for what's right. This is not the situation that's going on with these traffic infractions being converted to crimes. That is not right. And so, you know, folks just need to stand up and not let these folks take advantage of you, because that's what they're going to do if you don't stand up.
That's
true. That's what's going on. You know, so I really appreciate your help. You really opened my eyes up to a lot of things.
Yeah.
I still believe, though, that, you know, folks should take a look into, you know, researching their that title to their body, the birth certificate, and that Social Security number.
Yeah.
I think people should start to, you know, and I believe with the forum that you have, you can definitely, you know, affect a lot of people's lives in a very positive way. And it's all about, you know, people do whatever you want to do, but it's all about just searching for the truth. That's all I seek is the truth. I'm not going out trying to, you know, mess with these police officers and what they're doing. That's what they choose to do. That's what they choose to do. But I want to be left alone. I don't know how you feel, brother.
Yeah. But I think we all feel the same way. But yeah.
The thing about it is that, like, if you look into the future and you look into the past, you see what the past has produced now. What we got taught in our schools didn't have anything to do with the things that are actually having an effect on your life, a direct effect on your life. What they taught us in school, you know, was to, you know, just general, basic English, but they're teaching us the things that are affecting us are in a different language.
Yeah.
So that
true.
in itself is fraud.
Yeah, and like I said, I've said before, where they took out and this is what they've done across the whole United States, they've taken the Pledge of Allegiance out of the schools for, I believe, two reasons. One is because of the word under God, or the word God, and the second one is because there's a part where it says, and to the republic for which it stands, right before the word, you know, God. And so, you know, on the TV you hear nothing but democracy this, and it's about we're in a democracy, when in fact we are in a, you know, republic, but they don't want a republic form of government because now they have to listen to every individual, and that's just more work for them and less profit for them.
Wow.
So.
And that's powerful, what you just said right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, extremely powerful. Well, you know what, man? I was just so much on a high when I got out of the court. When I was walking away from the court yesterday, like I just couldn't believe it. But it is possible to win. It is possible to win in court, and people need to understand that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're willing to take the time, because it took you about almost 5 months, correct?
Yeah. Most of it was just waiting. I've been ready for it, but most of it was just waiting around and, you know, things like that.
Yeah, but you know,
waiting around, waiting for these folks to, hey, let's get in the courtroom.
Yeah.
And dance.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, I know
it's like look at it like a tennis match, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna get out here and somebody's gonna hit a couple of hits, and some people are gonna, you know.
Yeah, some are gonna hit and some are not. Now here's the thing though, like I have a mentor who says all the time, he goes, I have more time than money. So bring it on. And not everybody has time. Some people actually have to make the money to do the things, you know. And you know, luckily for me personally, I have bills, but you know, I've been able to manage what I've managed so far and live to where I have more time than money, and that's fine with me. And I'm not, you know, on the streets by any means. But some people are actually making a lot of money and they're almost on their way to the streets, which is kind of weird, but. You know, like I said, this government is doing this with mortgages and everything as well.
I agree with you. And luckily for me, you know, I'm self-employed, so it doesn't matter. Didn't matter to me, if they wanted to take a year. And I know that's not the case for everyone, but even if you have to report to a job, I believe that you should still, take the time to fight these things. Schedule it because you have power. If you're going to represent yourself in there, you have power to move that court and set dates that actually work for you and everyone. You can do that. Don't just take what they're telling you.
And do you believe that if people with children, of course, do this, do you think it'll benefit their kids in the future?
I think, if they go to, if they say that word, repeat that one more time for me.
You think that if people with kids fight, if they get their own cases and they get a ticket, do you think if they were to fight their tickets now, it might help their kids in the future?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Because you have, again, going back to what we're being taught in our public school systems, is to be subservient to this fictitious authority. And it is fictitious. Right? You got to think about it. You could walk down the street, mind your own business, and because a peace officer who's abusing the system doesn't like the way you look today, maybe he don't like the sweater you got on or the shirt you're wearing, or maybe your pants are hanging down too low, something, he can come up with anything he wants to do to detain you, which is a form of arrest. Even if he lets you go 20 minutes later, a half hour later, that's a form of arrest.
And then
so they're not teaching you these things in school.
And then to top it off, he can make up any kind of charge or crime, and you, even if you're innocent, would take, like in your case, months to fight it and prove that you're innocent, but then what? Time wasted.
Exactly. And I struggle with this because I have young children that are in our public school system, and that's the reason why I'm standing up, because throughout my whole life, and I'm 43 years old, throughout my whole life, all I've ever done, whenever I got some sort of traffic ticket, be it speeding, something, I ended up with some sort of a plea bargain, but at the end of the day, they took my money. And I'm tired of them taking my money. Because that $80 or that $100 that they took from you, or that $200 fine, or whatever the number is, that's money that should be going towards you and your family. That's where you went out and extended your energy for that exchange. So why should you be giving it away to a fictitious?
Yeah, a corporation. That's true.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
So I just think everyone needs to do their own research and not rely on an attorney necessarily. If you're going to use an attorney, then you should know, or have some knowledge of what that could do for you and should do for you. Otherwise, you're just going to get played.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And I want to thank you very much. I don't know. I think if I went over the time, but anyways, I want to thank you, and I'm going to stop the video now. But I do appreciate you taking the time to make this video with me.
And I appreciate you, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.